Brian, stop the tape.
Okay, Mike. Oh, wait. Rewind that scene, please.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene.
I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Brian Bond.
And this is the Rewind That Scene podcast by
Podcast.
Bobo Touch, where we go back in time and we review and rewind our favorite movies and things that had an impact on us, our parents, our dentist, our doctors, everybody that we cross paths with, our favorite movies, and we learn new things and their perspectives and directors, actors, writers, cinematographers, maybe like their friends, their pets, everyone.
It's true. I mean, really, this is a podcast for everyone. This is an educational podcast. If you've never even seen the movie we're talking about, you better go out and fucking see it. If you haven't seen it in a while, you better see it again.
So listen,
you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
1998, fucking Neil Brennan, Dave Chappelle, Clarence Williams III. So many people in
John
this movie.
Stewart, Snoop Dogg, and our boy Bob Saget. Rest in peace. You got Willie Nelson vibes.
Yes.
Look, this movie was made back in the day. $8 million was the budget. It grossed $17.5 million.
Damn.
And beyond that, you know it got more views. We're not
my
even talking about digital stuff. This is pre-Napster, baby. You know what I mean?
Pre everything. I mean, 1998, I mean, they were still shooting on film. There was no HD. I mean, you didn't know how to even use a digital editing software yet. There were no
serious.
Yeah, hump for
You
cereal.
know what I mean?
Yeah, there was no cell phones yet. Maybe beepers just came out, or not even yet, right? Beepers. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
This shit is
143,
fucking wild.
143.
143 boobless.
911. Yeah, Boobless, yeah. 78-minute running time, an amazing film, and we have an amazing guest today, Riz. Who do we have on the
It's
show?
the director, Tamra Davis. We
This
love
is
her
an
work.
amazing
She came
person.
from the music video background, ton of famous music videos that got her into the feature world. We are
That's
excited
true.
to bring her on. Where is she?
We grew up on music videos here in New York. We're Brooklynites. How did you feel about getting this project when you first got on board with it? And where was your mind at balancing all the absurdity, amazing stuff in the script? And just like there's obviously their friendship, loyalty, and stuff in the dynamic of the script. But what were your initial thoughts?
Well, I had worked with Universal Studios a few times before I did Half Baked. I did CB4 starring Chris Rock with them, and I did
Yes.
Billy Madison with Adam Sandler. And
Amazing.
yeah, and the producers of Billy Madison, this guy Bob Simons, he sent me the script and I read it and he was like, "Oh, we're starting to shoot in like 5 weeks or 6 weeks." I'm like, "Wait a minute, you don't even have a director. Like, how do you start shooting so soon?" He's like, We're going. I got these 2 kids. We're gonna make a movie, we're gonna do this." And so I was like, so he sent me the script. And I read the first scene and I like called Bob and I was like, "Oh my God, the kids smoking weed at the 7-Eleven." I was like, I'm in. I was like, that was hilarious, that opening scene. I was like, I'll read it, but just set up a meeting. I'd love to meet these 2 guys. And it was Dave Chappelle and Neil Brennan, and they were about 23 years old. And so I met with them at Universal in Bob's office. And we just got along. So we were laughing hysterically. We loved it. And I just kind of saw that my job at that time was, I'm really good technically and I know how to make a movie. I know what shots we need and I'm fun and creative. I basically just had to like get those guys, capture that lightning in a bottle, like make sure that I kept them on track. We got the shots, we moved on, and try not to inhibit the crazy inspiration of comedy. Don't get in the way of it.
Right. And I was gonna say, like, how did you like? I mean, I feel like Dave Chappelle. I mean, obviously, like he's so young and amazing, but like he's known for improv. Like, how much freedom and like stuff did that happen with the script? Did he deviate like away from the script, and like how much did you guys workshop all that stuff?
I think like it was a system I'd used before that basically you have a script that everybody's approved and you've got the money based on that script. And when you read the script, it works. So you always shoot whatever angle you're on, you always shoot the script first. So you're like, okay, that's the scene. And then hopefully you're doing well on time. And then you could be like, okay, we got that. Go ahead. You guys can do some stuff where you ad lib. So you always try to make
Yeah.
sure, because you don't want to get in trouble with the studio and they're like, what'd you do? This is nothing on the script. Like you could get in trouble if you don't shoot what you're
Yeah.
supposed to. But then if you do it and it's like the third take, you got it, and it's like, okay, let's just have fun and let's kind of go off script. And but they were pretty close on, they were, because Neil and Dave wrote it, so they were pretty on script, and they wanted the other actors to be pretty close to the script as well. It was pretty solid.
Nice. And was there any anticipation from the studio or just in general, at this point in time with any pushback on like cannabis culture? I know
Oh
now
yeah.
it's everywhere. It's legal in most states, but were there any sort of like challenging parts about what the reaction might be or even going into it? I mean, I love that, back to what you just said, like, Dave, they wrote this film with knowing what they wanted to do and have it feel like and be with, and you bringing it to life. So, just curious of just the times as well as
Right.
of
Navigating that.
yeah.
When you look back on it, we were creating this fantasy because it didn't exist. Like you couldn't go to a place and like walk into a room and there would be weed everywhere. Like, so now like I can like when weed became legal and I could go to a store and walk in there and they'd be like jars or bottles of weed. Like it really was a wish fulfillment from Half Baked, because that was our fantasy, that you could walk into a place and it would be like, and there was weed movies, there was Cheech and Chong movies, or whatever.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there was Fridays, so there was like a genre of weed movie. So we knew what we were getting into. So it wasn't like, oh, you can't make a movie about something that's totally illegal. And also the tone of a weed movie is very different than like cocaine, like blow or hair, whatever. So weed is always going to be like a more fun thing. And so I feel like we went into it and I never really felt like, oh no, we're going to get in trouble or whatever. Like it was all, I don't know. I didn't feel like that part. But I do remember like towards the end when we were screening it, and that's when I felt like, oh darn, I didn't like, because also it was like Universal was owned. I have no idea who owns them now, but at the time they were owned by Smirnoff. And for some reason I was like, are they going to have a problem that I'm promoting weed and they're like an alcohol company? And what
Oh
are their
man.
thoughts? And I mean, this must have been like, I might have like put this in my own head, but we didn't really get any pushback. And I feel like if
Amazing.
anything, yeah, it was like pretty fine. Dave, like at the time he smoked weed and he was like, oh, this is just going to give me a license to smoke weed anywhere I want. Like he
Yeah,
thought,
yeah, exactly. You got the credibility now. You just rolling up.
yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, he'd be like, it's just a prop, like he could just go anywhere with weed after this. And we definitely found in the theaters, yeah, we would screen it and people were smoking weed in the theater and be like, no, don't get us in trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all fun. It was just fun, fun, fun.
I have like a little kind of like the eclectic group of actors like Jon Stewart, Snoop
But
Dogg, the infamous Bob Saget scene, come on, that's like so viral and like everyone talks about that. That was like the first time he kind of like, oh my God, that's like the Full House dad talking about, sucking D. So so like can you maybe share a little bit about like those little nuggets? Like how did those come to life?
there were a lot of those in the script. And so it's always production wise, you're like, how do they
Yeah.
pull that off? Like Willie Nelson, like everybody. And they were just so fun. I set up like two cameras. It was skit like, we'd come in
Yeah.
and it'd be like an hour or two and get those like little pop-offs, and they would do scripted, but then, there would be some ad lib as well. But the Bob Saget one totally threw me though, because like, yeah, I was like, who's this guy? Like I knew him from Full House. I just felt like I have no idea. But my producer, Bob Simons, knew him. I guess he did some movie with Bob. And then also he is known on the stand-up route. Like some
Yeah.
like solid people knew him and that knew that he had this other side of him that was like totally edgy or whatever, that guy. But we had no idea what he was going to say. Like it was a full theater, whatever, AA
So
meeting, the
good.
whole thing. And like we didn't know. He just was like, I'm gonna try, you know, whatever. Like, I didn't know it was gonna be that hard. And also how we did it with like, he really worked, but the same thing of like, you're really gonna stand up in an AA meeting and say something like that. You work yourself up. So he had worked himself up. He was pacing back and forth before doing it. It was hilarious. We just, and we all, I don't think we could shoot afterwards. I think we were all on the ground, like just all of us laughing.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it just took us all out. Yeah.
It's funny because it almost just comes out of him. Like it's
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean. Like
yeah,
he's
you're
like
right.
building, yeah, it's like, and he just had to get out. We're like, what?
Yeah. It's almost so amazing. And everybody kind of had that pre-internet oh, this guy does stand up where he's raw. It's not the Danny Tanner people know.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know.
exactly.
It was very shocking. It was very like, whoa.
Definitely miss his energy but I think this was like very one of the first sort of on-screen movies with great, like you said, Mike, kind of eclectic. You got all these amazing actors in this movie and storyline, and then he's just this random dude, like you're saying at the AA meeting. It's wild. I really do love that, and looking back on this film, there's so many other movies that have come out in the Seth Rogen universe of Weed and Super, Pineapple Express and
Loved.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Pineapple Express and Bad. Those are super bad. Some of my favorites. Love.
They all kind of go back, and even the Kevin Smith stuff, they all really go back to around this era of, I think, Half Baked being a big pivotal masterpiece that like you said, Cheech and Chong, they're even like Reefer Madness, right, if we want to go back in the day, but it really is one of those staple movies that people love this, and
you did it first.
Yeah, you did it for the scene in the living room when they're floating in the sky, and it's like, some of the stuff you think you get old. Obviously we all have kids, and we're and then you're like, this is so good.
Yeah, I saw it recently, like at a screening, and I just was like, it reminded me because like a lot of times when you're doing stuff, you really don't get it. You're like, okay, he's just gonna lay on the couch. Like that's all he's gonna do.
Yeah.
And you have these like 20-year-olds, like these 23, and they're like, it's gonna be genius. Like they're trying to convince you. And I'm like, oh, like he doesn't say anything. Like maybe he says a couple words later. But it's like, yeah, it's just so funny. Corral. It was just like really fun to corral those guys and get excited about it. And just, that's all you're trying to do when you're making a movie is make each other laugh. Like if Neil could get Dave to laugh, if David could get Neil to laugh, if they could get me to, you're just trying to see like how far can you push it to make everybody just crack up on set.
Is there any like, we have a lot of like, fans from this kind of period of movies. Do you have any kind of like one memory that you could share, or kind of like a behind the scenes moments or anything you can remember? I know it was so long ago.
I know it's a lot. I mean, I feel like we just had the best time. I know that like I was intimidated for sure from Clarence how do you say it? Clarence Thomas the Third? What is that his name? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Like Mod Squad. Like
name.
I grew so he
Regal.
he was intimidating. He seemed like he thought it was like he was in a different movie because he played the whole thing straight. Like he was like, that was the character, and he was a drug lord, and he was like running this thing. He had no ounce of humor in his body. And so we were like thinking this was all hilarious, and we're laughing, doing all this stuff. And he played it as if it was like a full serious, like it wasn't funny to him. It was, and we were so intimidated by him the whole time. And so I don't know if he was just, I think he really was like that, because like literally shaking when you go up to talk to him type of thing. And he's just
my God.
Yeah. Even it was
crazy. As a director, you're like, okay.
Sir Clarence Thomas the Third. Yes. Do you mind picking up the phone with the left hand? And he would give you attitude,
like,
or
how
like,
dare you? I run this circle.
Yes. Like,
Wow.
okay, yeah. It was
Wow.
so funny. So I think like that part was like hilarious to me.
I love that.
I don't know. We just had a lot of fun. I do remember that like at late years later, my mom, I had like I think I don't even know where they are now. I have like some of those bricks, the weed bricks from the show,
Oh
like
my
what they
God,
steal, the
yes.
weed bricks. So I remember my mom thought she was getting robbed at one point, and so she like ran around the house holding this brick, thinking that she was going to exchange this prop brick of weed for like not
Like,
getting robbed, like as if this was this value. Yeah.
it is worth so much.
Worth
Like,
so
like
much.
$1 million brick.
Yeah, a brick. And I'm like, Mom, it's a prop. It's not really weed. It's just like it was all fake. It
That's a
looked
little
real
short
though.
film. That's a short film in itself right there. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. She thought that was gonna get her saved.
I love that. It looks real, feels real. That's so cool. And I love that you took a piece of the film home with you. I feel
Oh,
we
that's
talked
like,
to,
yeah.
yeah, we talked to a lot of directors, even actors, and I'm like, hey, did you get a chance to take anything wardrobe? And you don't really hear much, or we've heard like some good advice from Alan Arkin, before, that
Yeah.
someone once said, that he, the on the set of the Jerky Boys, that he said to just take the clothes and continue to leave and not come back to set. These little tidbits, but I love that you were like, I'm taking the brick of weed.
It's
This
so
is
good.
my movie. And then to hear that, like you said, it's almost a short film in itself with the story. It's like, I love the elderly and our parents. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so
I'm
funny.
I'm an editor, and my mom still barely knows what I do, so it's kind of
Yeah.
awesome.
And I mean, I think like obviously you said with the other films you've made, we're such big fans as well. I mean, Billy Madison and
Oh my God, so good.
I love the Chris Rock film. I mean, and then of course your music videos too. Like I said, we're big fans of music, so we play instruments as well. And I love just the diverse director work you have, and in all this. So it's really awesome. And with this one, we figured we'd want to just pick your brain because I think it's really paved the way for the current day stoner esque culture movies.
Absolutely.
There was kind of like some of the stuff. Of course, there were these movies back in the day, and they're funny. But this one was, I think, like you brought that energy that Dave and Neil wanted to bring to the screen, and
And it
I love it.
shows. It's really fucking wild. Is there anything you're working on now that we could promote and we can share that out there? I'm sure. I feel like you're super busy a lot, so that's really
I am. I wish there was something that I could say is coming. It's like they're movies that are just like I'm about to make deals on and shoot, but
nice.
not coming out. Yeah, I mean, I did do. It came out in the right at the end of the year, a boy band documentary on Paramount Plus, and that was really fun. I went from I worked with MTV. I went from the Beatles to K-pop and did a
Oh,
really
nice.
fun
Oh my God.
thing on like what does a boy band mean? I interviewed Hanson in that.
Yes.
They were like, we're not a boy band. I'm like, yes, I want to talk to you about that. They're like, we're a family band. I'm like, great, let's talk about being in a family band.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that was really fun. I got to revisit and work with a lot of the bands that I had worked with long ago. So that was fun.
Brian, he used to have long hair like Zach Hansen, so he was always got made fun of. He was called Zach Hansen growing up.
I really respect
Boom
those
bop.
guys.
Yeah.
They
No,
are
Good.
They're talented. They're
talented.
talented.
Yeah, we're
Talented musicians.
we're actually chummy with and buddies with Mac Hansen, who's the one of the other siblings that's not obviously within the three brothers. He's
Yeah.
the younger. He's more of a younger sibling, but another film editor, also insane guitar player, multi-instrumentalist. And
Yeah.
I don't know what's running through their blood, but they have their recent music videos are funny.
Yeah, they're good. They're really good.
all
They-
yeah.
They're good entrepreneurs too. I went and visited them when I did the interview in Tulsa, and they've got like a whole studio and they run a business there and they can tour. They're doing great. Like they have their fans and they just like they keep servicing their audience. They're really cool. Yeah.
Nice.
They're great guys.
If there's any advice you'd give to young directors and people getting into the
how would someone right now kind of break into like directing movies or directing music videos?
Honestly, my best advice is just to pick up a camera, just to start doing stuff. Because the more you do, the better you're going to get at it. Yeah, just I start making whatever you're passionate about. Like if it's a music video, make a music video, make a short film. Like I was making all these little short films, or do like a little documentary thing, interview a couple people, do something. But I just feel like you have all the ability and all the technology that you need. I didn't have that when I started,
Yeah.
or I had it was just like harder to do. But nowadays there's so much software available for you to just pick up. Even on your iPhone you could make a movie. So I just feel like
Yeah.
if you feel like you have a talent for it, you're never going to know until you pick up a camera, make it instead of just talking about it, and then whatever, post it, show it, play it. Now you can put it on Instagram, you put it on YouTube, you can put it on TikTok. So I feel like that's what you have to do, because nobody's going to hire you unless they've seen stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
And so, you got to like get a little bit of a resume together of little shorts or comedy or whatever it is. Just pick up a camera.
Oh, Tamra rocked us.
Yes, I mean,
Thank you,
just that
Tamra.
Clarence bit is just amazing, and just the
Yeah.
journey of like what Hollywood was like. This is pre-stoner, mid generation movie. You got the early films, but this was
Yeah.
like, I think, the one that really like projected and catapulted the whole like freaks and geeks movement
I
too.
have to
you
say,
know?
Baby Bond, it was really funny that you brought up Carson Daly. That made me kind of excited.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can never forget my Carson, TRL.
Because that was my
think,
Carson. I made an appearance on there once in Much Music.
I
back in
remember
the
that.
day. Yeah, I was
Yes,
on that show. So thank you for bringing that up.
I love it. You can never forget TRL Countdown and
Yeah,
Limp Bizkit.
exactly.
These are the good
And break
days.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but this is like that era. I mean, 1998, Much Music, Matthew Goodband.
Yeah, man.
You had some great hip hop out as well.
Yep,
It was
yep.
the era before the you could even look at the Woodstock era of Woodstock. I mean, like these are
Also, it was also a very lawless, like more riskier time, right? Like now things are a little more safe. Back then,
Yeah.
I mean, even though I know it was like probably like one of the big stoner movies to be out there, but still, it was kind of like they could do more then in a way, right? Get more approved. I would think.
totally. Totally,
Yeah.
it's crazy, and even like the fact that it's like a brick of weed, right? Like I love
Yeah,
that.
I
like,
love that. I love that.
This
the
is
mom,
what it's centered around.
her mom has
and-
the brick of weed. We got to do that short, man. Let's make that movie.
Yeah.
And put
We
your
got-
mom in it, Paranoid Suma.
Yeah. Oh, Tuma Tuma.
Tuma.
Yeah, we got to run it by Tamra. She's got to
She'll
make
direct
it happen.
a little
Yeah.
indie side short.
And also her like, dude, Billy Madison, Gun Crazy, CB4, like Bad Girls, even like these movies that like, I don't know,
Dude,
like
Billy
they're-
Madison was like,
Back-
I
yeah.
love that.
These are like big, crazy movies. Crossroads that Tamra did has Britney Spears.
Oh,
and I mean,
yeah.
there's just so much films that she did, and then I love the fact that the documentary on the boy band stuff that
Yeah,
just
that's
came
really
out,
cool. That's
which
really
I feel
cool.
like there's so much in there with the music in it. That's where, like you just said, Riz, like there's that gap of where that meeting of like film and then the music industry, and I feel
Yep.
she's like kind of in the center. There's so much bullshit that's in there, and that like you really kind of have to get it from the artist's perspective.
Oh
to
my God.
see, But
But dude, that's how we
is
that's
sick,
how we
man.
got our roots, man. We did the band, and then from the band, we're like, let's make a music video, and then from music videos, we're like, we have the rhythm, we have the storytelling. Let's go try to make a movie. Let's make a short. So I feel like the music and the film is always like aligned. You know what I mean? It's always like a really good. And I love her advice for like young directors and writers and filmmakers. Just go out there and do it. Just
Yeah.
pick up a camera, even if it sucks. Every single time you're gonna get better. Just do it. Produce content. Just do it. Put yourself out there. Now there's a million things to use, right? With social media. Just put your shit out there and see what happens.
I love
Ask
it.
your local, place to screen your movies there, like we did. Like we had our friends who owned bars would show our movies. Just do that. You know what I mean? Just try
Yeah.
to get it out
Get
there
your
any way
friends to
possible.
be in your
Yeah,
movies,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Support
thank you,
the
Tamra.
movies.
Yeah, this was great. Check out us online at Bobo Touch. We have a web series. We have short films. We do sketch comedies. Thank you so much. This is one of our favorite movies. So cool to hear these new little perspectives and what it went into making it. So thank you, Tamra. And make sure to give us a follow and spread the word. And keep a lookout for her new stuff coming out. And check out that boy band documentary.